He's useless.
Alright, we're here at Sandwich 100 with Eagles play-by-play broadcaster Pat McNeil. We're just going to ask him a few questions here today.
When did you first realize you wanted to become a sports broadcaster?
You know, I think it was something that was always in the back of my head when I was a kid, but it's not something I really actively pursued. I had some good luck with the situation where Kyle Moore, I'm sure you're familiar with, used to be the broadcaster, now CTV News. He left mid-season, so they had to expand their search, I guess you could say, and I was recommended and had some good luck in terms of good connections and I guess natural skills. So it's something I thought about as a kid, kind of got away from it, and then it fell into place later in life, so it was perfect.
So is there anyone you really looked up to as when you were coming into it?
I think for me, my favorite broadcaster always would have been Chris Cuthbert. I wouldn't necessarily have looked at him as an idol per se, but anytime I watched a game he did, and even now, I still really enjoy his work. I think he's the best out there. And what's interesting about broadcasting is when you do it long enough, when you watch games on television, you start to hear yourself in the broadcasters because you're probably subtly copying them and taking cues from them without you realizing it. So you notice yourself saying something, and then you watch a game on TV with Chris Cuthbert doing it, and you're like, oh, hey, he says that. That's where I got that from. So that's something that's interesting about broadcasting that people might not know of.
Now you went to CBU, so could you kind of tell us how the program that you took helped you become a sports broadcaster?
Yeah, for sure. I was a communication major, which was huge. People obviously would know that I do the play-by-play for the Screaming Eagles, but also with that, we prepare intermissions, we prepare pregame interviews with the coaches. So if anybody watching this is familiar with the comp program at CBU, facilitators, you both learn how to do interviews and also teach other people how to do interviews, teach you what kind of questions, closed questions, open questions, and whatnot. And I mean, the name says it all. The communication program is obviously going to be good. We're communicating on the air. And also another thing, too, I can give a plug for the Caper Times. I used to write for them when I was at CBU, and my job has evolved where I do a lot of writing for the organization. I do recaps after the games that go on the website, press releases, and just learning how to write stylistically for the school newspaper has helped me with the job on the air.
It's fired down the ice by Moore. Now Mandalisa is out to play. He'll fire it forward, turns it over to Joseph, and what a save by Mandalisa!
All right. So what do you think some of the benefits are of being a broadcaster?
Oh, tons, especially working with this team. We travel a lot, which I know we'll talk about probably later, but just getting to see different people in the hockey world, I think, getting to meet different media people I enjoy, getting to see hockey and getting paid to watch hockey, I think is pretty great. It's a great line of work to be in. I think just the hockey community, as I'm sure everybody here knows, it's a pretty welcoming, tight-knit community. And whether you're talking to other coaches or media people or even getting to see fans in other arenas and getting to see different cities and different vantage points and getting to see the next generation of NHL players, it's all pretty great. You could probably write a book on the benefits of it, really.
Now you mentioned a lot of travel involved. Where's your favorite place to call a game from?
Well, I think I could not mention the Videotron Center in Quebec City. Any hockey fan knows that Quebec has built an arena. They really want an NHL team there. For us junior fans that are there right now, we're blessed to get to see it before they get the Nordiques back. My broadcast booth up there is on the 7th floor. The players kind of look like little ants, but it's really something to see that facility. It's something else. And one that might surprise people, like an older arena like Drummondville, there's nothing overly special about it, but it just has a very good basic view of the ice. They have a broadcast booth right above the top of the lower bowl. And it's just, you can see everything, but you're close. And as somebody who likes to indulge in the sweets on the road, the fridge is always stocked with pop. That's always a good thing, too. And I'll give a mention to Victoriaville there because they have donuts in the press box.
That's definitely a good perk there. So it's a lot of long bus trips going to these places deep in Quebec. What's some stuff you like to do on the bus to pass the time?
Well, I think for me, the way things are now, it's very easy to pass the time just doing work on your computer. For me, I like to edit my interviews, shorten them out, get rid of some of the ums and ahs, and get rid of some of the redundant phrases so that the interviews flow a little bit better. Maybe I do research. There's always things that I like to put in every broadcast, like how each team's power play is that the Eagles are playing, or how the teams have played against each other throughout the year, home records, road records, and whatnot. And then with playoffs coming up, that goes even further, looking at every player's backstory on the opposition. So really, there's so much information out there now, and the access is so easy that it's pretty easy to pass the time. And of course, every now and then you're just going to get sidetracked, just laughing and carrying on with the people on the bus, be it fellow staff or fellow players. And sometimes that's good too, because you get to know the players a little bit more, and it's all good, and for the most part, it's not really a hard time to pass the time on the road.
On to Fiore at the top of the circle. Back to LeBlanc. LeBlanc now to Carosa. Carosa moves it for Batherson. Fiore tees it up. Scores! And I don't think there's going to be any offside on it.
All right. So overall, what do you feel are the best type of plays you like to call during a game?
Well, obviously, when a game goes to overtime, that's exciting. You have to be on your edge all the time. I like to call pretty passing plays, as everybody else would. Calling fights are interesting because it's one of those things that you don't really think about or get a practice to, and it's hard to be descriptive. I think there it's where it's more just about emotion than anything else. I would say big goals. I mean, it just gives you an excuse to get excited and just basically yell like a maniac. So who doesn't like to do that?
Now, for you personally, is there like one call that sticks out for you that you called previously? Or?
I think the call I remember most, because I put a little bit of preparation into it, is the Screaming Eagles were playing in Quebec City in the playoffs a few years ago, and the Eagles were down 3-2 in the series, and they won Game 6 in overtime, and Dylan Boucher was the guy that scored the winner, a bit of an unexpected guy to get the winning goal. And I knew the games were being watched back at different restaurants at home, so I actually shouted out to them. I said, "Yeah, Boucher scores, etc., etc." I said, "Buckle up, Steel City, buckle up, East Sides. The Eagles are going to Game 7 tomorrow night." So I always remember that. And I don't remember the exact wording, but Pierre-Luc Dubois scored a big goal in overtime in the playoffs against Chicoutimi, and I was talking to Dan Robertson, who's the voice of the Montreal Canadiens, used to work in Eastlink, and he said, "Yeah, I talked to Marc Denis, he used to play in the NHL, he's the president of the Sags. He said you had a really good call on the overtime winner," so I always remembered that.
How about any slip-ups or bloopers? Any of those stick out in your mind?
Well, as you can probably see just watching me do this interview, I'm somebody that speaks very quickly, and when that happens, you tend to, every now and then, you transpose your syllables. I won't give away exactly what happened, but I'll let you put your imagination to work, and I'll never use the phrase "flip the puck" again, because if you mix up the first letter of two words there, it sounds pretty bad.
Brisebois coming up the right side, captain of the Islanders. We've got a fight already. It's Ty Fournier and Dylan Boucher going at it. Big rights coming in from these former teammates. Heavy blows being traded. Lots of big rights here. Big time shots. And now Boucher's got Fournier's helmet off. And Fournier dropped to the ice.
How do you think you impact on the sporting community?
Well, I think there's a few things there. What we're doing right here actually is good because I think it brings attention to this career. Someone watching this might say, "Hey, I'd like to be a sportscaster." Obviously brings attention to the brand of the Screaming Eagles hockey, which is good. And also, I think, would hope brings publicity to CBU and the programs that it offers. But just in general, obviously being a broadcaster, your biggest contribution if you do what you do well, you're helping promote your product, and which, of course, promotes the game itself, and I think that would be the biggest thing in that regard.
How does the
Here's Dubois. Dubois, 2-on-1 with Jolie. Chabot is back. Dubois, digging around, and Jolie scores!
Go ahead, Brad.
So how does being a sports play-by-play broadcaster promote active living in the community?
Well, I think, first of all, you're drawing attention to the sport of hockey itself. If you're doing a good job of broadcasting, which is important, and that draws attention to the game, which is active living. And occasionally I'll talk about other sports on the broadcast too, like we're giving a shout out to the Capers women's basketball team when they won AUS. Good job to them. And even sports like Australian football mentioned on the air. So you're drawing attention to those. And I think as well too, the broadcast has done a good job. If you listen to the pregame show, we always have a segment called Tips from the Trainer, and it's explicitly said that we're trying to promote active living here. So by taking focus away from the direct product on the ice to do that, I think we're drawing attention to healthy living, which is good, and that's kind of the broadcast doing its part to promote healthy living.
All right, so that just about concludes our time here. Is there any final words or plugs you'd like to put out there?
Hey, go Eagles, go! Be sure to tune in 1270 CJCB Tuesday, Wednesday, games 3 and 4, 8:30. Tune in; it's going to be great.